Everyone. This week I've been asking everyone kind of about their backgrounds and their time before GitLab and at GitLab in their careers. So I thought it would only be fair if I shared the same thing with you. So this is kind of the second video that I'm making that's kind of just about me. I'm just going to briefly talk about kind of my background just so you can get to know me a little bit better. All right, so starting with college, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. This was from a small town in Wisconsin, kind of near where I grew up. So for computer science, it was focused on programming languages and hardware, databases, that kind of stuff. Fun fact, while I have a kind of a major in computer science, my other focus while at this college was in a theater arts degree, and I also played in the college jazz big band. And somewhere out there's a recording of me playing saxophone and a jazz band. So then I got a master's degree in software engineering. So this is more focused on the way you make software and the process of developing software. Focused on object-oriented analysis and design, which was the kind of the hot thing when I got this degree. And then I have a graduate certificate in high performance leadership, and this was more kind of to help me focus on my management skills. So my first job in college, I actually got an internship, and then my first job was at 3M. So this was a huge company, Fortune 100, which is one of the largest 100 companies in the US. When I was there, I think it had about 75,000 employees. I think now it's closer to 100,000. 3M's known for making, well, they're big in the news now because they make N95 masks, but they also make Post-it notes, Scotch tape, and tens of thousands of other products too. So I worked there for about 7 years as a back-end engineer, and I really worked on internal logistics software. It was for shipping and receiving. I left there mostly because, it's a product company, but the software wasn't the product we were shipping, and it was definitely seen at the company as a cost and not something as an investment. So it was always kind of this tension. So I tried going to Travelers Insurance for a very short time. I was hired for a new internal development consulting team, but that never really took off, so I didn't really stay there very long. The main place I worked was BTC, where we make CAD software. While I was their big product, I worked as a back-end engineer on the Windchill application, which is used to kind of manage complex CAD systems. There's kind of like source control for your CAD software. So if you imagine like a jumbo jet or something that has 10,000 CAD drawings, every single nut and bolt and piece of wiring had a CAD drawing in it. So the Windchill application was used to kind of manage the interactions between all those, change version control. If there's anything changed, it would be able to tell how that would impact other parts in the software. So I worked, like I said, a back-end engineer team that did kind of telemetry and phone home capabilities to make sure we understood how our customers were using the product. And then I worked on a visualization team, so users could kind of interact with the 3D models in the kind of source control without having to go open the CAD software. So you had kind of limited, you can kind of play with the 3D model, turn it around, split it apart, things like that. Next, I went to a very small startup called Refactor, which doesn't exist anymore. And our goal, we helped small local businesses write web apps from scratch, which was fun. I was one of about 4 backend engineers there. I didn't ever actually left Refactor, but I was only there for 6 months because while I was working there, the founders of that startup also began an IoT startup called SmartThings. So while we were at Refactor, we were working on prototypes and then launched a successful Kickstarter campaign, which raised about $1.2 million in a month. That was pretty surprising to everyone. Because we had this money, we needed to build out this product. Everyone who was at this startup started contracting for SmartThings. Remember, it had the same founder, so we were kind of like working for each other, or for the same people anyway. quickly realized that was silly, and we just moved over to the new company. So then I became a SmartThings employee. At some point, a few years later, SmartThings was purchased by Samsung. So while I was there as one of the first backend engineers, so I was really one of the people that was helping build out the platform that we eventually need to support millions of connected IoT devices. I worked in a lot of different areas while I was there. I was mostly focused on the backend APIs for the mobile apps. At the end, we were writing microservices and kind of supporting and deploying those ourselves, each team. So pretty exciting. And then while I was there, I made the transition from kind of a backend engineer to a team lead, which was I was doing engineering and managing, and then to a full-time engineering manager, which is where I really liked to be. So as I was winding down my time at SmartThings, I was really looking for a company to work on a product that I knew, that I used, I respected, and GitLab fit that. And then I was also hoping for a remote company. So GitLab was kind of a perfect fit. I started in May of 2019, and as people know, we probably, from when I started, we doubled in size. So that summer, while I still felt like I was pretty new, I realized I'd been at GitLab longer than about half the company, which was crazy. So I was hired to work on the monitor team, which then we split that into two teams, monitor health, monitor APM, and then we moved over to the create team in September. Just to give you a little bit of my technical background, I was mostly focused on JVM languages, so Java, Groovy, and then the current thing I like is Kotlin, so any of my side projects and scripts and stuff that I'm playing around with are in Kotlin. I used Rails, which is very similar to Rails, but kind of a Groovy version, and then Ratpack, which is like kind of the Sinatra framework for Ruby. These are two different kind of web frameworks. Worked on lots of types of data stores, pretty much all of them. So relational databases, NoSQL databases, things like Dynamo and Redis, so a bunch. I have some experience with front end, but I'm not good at it. And then put here, just to be totally honest, I'm not an expert in Rails or Ruby, but I did write a book using Rails. However, that book was basically out of date by the time it was published, so I would recommend not buying that because it's really not useful anymore. Yeah, and there's some more information about like management and things in my README, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.